Hello, everybody. Excited Utterance here. My name is Hella, and welcome also to the Law of Self-Defense viewers as well. You're probably wondering, where's Andrew? And he's here. He's here backstage, and he is dual streaming on his channels as well. Mr. Law of Self-Defense is going to be on our panel today, and thank you to Andrew for deciding to dual stream this. As you know, he's a very familiar face on my channel here. And today we are going to be wrapping up the Rust trial and all of the reactions to that. And we're also hopefully later on going to be welcoming onto the panel David from Making Law Simple Network to have a bit of a look at the Crumbley trial as well. A couple of other fun things that we're going to see reactions to. So I need to break out of this little comment bubble. If you haven't noticed, I have an Australian accent. Oh, look. Yes, I'm all the way over here in Australia. And because you guys have changed your daylight saving time, I've had to get up a whole hour early, and that makes 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m. start for this stream for me. I think I'm going to have to change to 4 p.m. Eastern. I think I'm going to have to change to 4 p.m. Eastern. All right. Hey, and welcome. Welcome, guys. All right. So I think most of you guys know this guy here.
Yes.
We have Mr. Andrew Branca, Law of Self-Defense. Welcome back. You were here last week for this one. And we have Mr. Salvador Dali, my lovely co-host, looking pretty down there. Your girlish figure.
Hello. Yes.
Hi, Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Thanks for having me on again.
Of course. Well, we can't wrap up the Rust trial without having you here.
Yes.
And of course, we have all the reactions from around the social medias, from around YouTube, etc., to some of the crazier moments that finished that trial off.
Oh, were there some?
There were a couple. There were a few. Look, if you don't know how this stream works, if you haven't watched it before, what we do on Sundays is we look at everything that people have been saying across all the social medias about the trials, the things that we watch throughout the week. And if you've just been sitting and watching the streams that you watch, looking at the same social media feeds that you watch, that you read, what happens with the algorithms is they feed you the same things that you like to hear. And that's fine if you like to stay in your little world. But what I like to do is I go and research and I look outside of that. And I bring that to you on a Sunday. And sometimes it can be funny. It can be a little bit uncomfortable to hear the kind of things that people are saying that maybe you don't agree with. And we have a bit of a laugh about it. We read them out. Mr. Salvador Dali here,
yes.
He is our resident reader. So he reads things in the kind of voices that he thinks that he thinks that people are saying them in. So let's get straight to it, shall we? Let's get straight to it. So we have our layout for today. Ooh, there we go. And hearsay for today. Hearsay for days. Let's have a look. Oh, and welcome. Hello, Eric Cartman. Who are these people? Okay. So my name is Excited Utterance. Hella is my name. I am all the way from Brisbane, Australia. So northern part of Australia. And yet it is literally 5 a.m. here. So it's super duper early. Thank you very much for changing your times over there in America.
Good time.
And yeah, we jiggle the algo. That's what we do. Oh, hello, Bill, Toyo Toys. Good to see you. You are going to be back on the agenda today. And Hi, folks. Hello, Chandler. And yes, Diston is here as well. Great to see you, Diston. All right, let's get into it. So I have, drum roll. I have an announcement to make, everybody. I have an announcement to make. You ready?
Yes.
Boom, 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 boom. Where are we? Hang on, I need to just put my little overlay on this. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, that. Okay, I have an announcement to make, and I am now available as an expert witness in firearm safety in all states across the US.
An easy 10 grand.
Yeah. See, there's my expert CV. You want to hire me?
Can't be any worse than the one we saw.
I've decided that if that dude from the Gutierrez trial can be a firearms expert, then this expert CV should get me in.
The real winner of that trial.
Oh God.
You like it?
Yes.
Well, I've been thinking all week, like, what can I do with my career?
Yeah.
What's this? I bet Hella could take down a Glock faster than the ACF expert. Look, I've been learning. I've been hanging out with this dude and with Sean, potentially criminal, a fair bit, and I've been learning stuff. So
Yes.
I figure I know more than that dude.
Well, I think Russ needs a new armorer, so.
Russ does need a new armorer. Russ does. I don't know how much like Rust is like staying in business, but we'll see. Okay, so yeah, that's my expert CV. Nice gig, yeah. Oh, hello, Maria Santos. How's it going? Yeah. Nice to know you're in Brisbane. Yes, I'm in Brisbane. Okie dokie. Alrighty, so let's get into it. So Pretty Lies and Alibis said, defense in Rust trial talking to, we'll get to the expert in a moment, but we'll backtrack to just before when the defense expert testified. So defense in Rust trial talking to a witness who Hannah gave the suspected bag of cocaine to. Could have been protein powder or powdered sugar.
Oh, sure. She was working out.
Was that said?
4 sugar packets worth of powdered protein.
Confectionery sugar.
That's not going to build much muscle.
Really? Was that actually the words that were said?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so then we've got Anjanette Levy. She's from Colt TV,
Or
isn't
TV.
she?
Yeah, I think she still is.
Yeah. Then why get rid of it? Come on. So if you don't know, if you haven't watched the stream
It was
before,
expired.
if you haven't watched this stream before, unless somebody is like a well-known YouTuber or public figure or reporter, I keep their name redacted. So these little orange dots, they're just general people who are commenting on social media. Or unless they've given me their permission to put their name up there or the little avatar up there, then I just put orange dots. So Anjanette Levy is very well known, and so is Pretty Lies and Alibis Gigi. So yeah. So Mr. Salvador Dali, would you like to read the rest of the comments then?
Yes. Defense in Rust trial talking to witness who Hannah gave the suspected bag of...
we just read those. The orange ones.
Oh, sorry. Haha, sure. That's what they use on set. I wanted the defense attorney to ask, did you personally test to see if it was cocaine? I am disappointed.
What did it smell like?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised with Pulse.
The recovering addict came over to get a powder in a green baggie stuck inside another baggie to hold on to. A or B? Cocaine or some drug? Hannah's world-famous biscuit mix.
Does she have a biscuit mix? Did that come up?
No biscuit mix. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was a it was a interesting set of facts where, frankly, it would be hard not to conclude beyond a reasonable doubt that the stuff was cocaine, even though the police never had it. It was never tested in a lab. You know, you can't know for certain, but the burden on the state's not certainty. The burden is beyond any reasonable doubt. And could there be a reasonable doubt that it was an illicit drug? I mean, no one. For me, the big tell was the amount of effort she put into trying to recover it. I mean, weeks of text messages. You don't do that for a little bit, 4 packets worth of sugar or protein powder.
No, look, I mean, it's not COVID times. It's not like hard to get hold of groceries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, and hello to Phil, Toyo Toys. I think you're in chat at the moment. Good to see you. Now, we met Phil last week. He does these cool mashups and things on Twitter. So that's why I have his name up here. Go on, Dali. He likes Dali. He likes it when you read his tweets out.
Does the camo head shaker know someone on the jury, telegraphing something in their direction? Hannah Gutierrez, and yes, I have an Etsy shop.
I don't know about the Etsy shop thing, but anyway. So this guy here, apparently, he'd been making all sorts of gestures in the direction of the jury throughout the week.
Family member, maybe your brother?
I don't know, but he seemed a bit sus. So let's have a look.
Defense is just leaving him out there to hang. They're not interjecting anything. I mean, he's an expert witness. They're paying him. He should know how to be able to handle cross like this. He's being destroyed. Rejecting anything. I mean, he's an expert witness. They're paying him. He should know how to be able to handle cross like this. But he's being destroyed.
Yeah. He's shaking his head.
Yeah.
Well, but that was not the first time though as well. Okay, so read those, please, Dali.
The courtroom is not exactly busy, so how is this behavior not being watched? I don't think judge can see him easily. The court officer surely can, though. Just a guess of mine, they must be there for that reason, I thought. One bailiff did say something to him. Might have been about phone.
I don't know. Phil might be able to say in chat. Like, did you see him doing this like a lot throughout the week? I don't know.
I noticed a few things. I think he was just I think he's a family member of Hannah.
You
think? Just very emotive.
He looks suspicious to me.
He does.
He's suspicious.
Maybe he's a love interest now that she's in prison.
Yeah, maybe. No, I think she's got more love interest now. She's in prison. And they're not male. Anyway, all right. So that's all very suspicious. Okay, so moving on. All right, we have all sorts of theories here. Let's go, Dali. Let's go with the theories.
I've watched this whole trial, and honestly, without proof of where the rounds came from, it's hard to find anyone liable.
No, that would be wrong.
It was proven without a single doubt that the set was a mismanaged hazard. So I think the prosecution is sunk. Right.
And hey, Dina, how's it going? Did you notice that head shaking man? Did you? So this is FMM2. That is Sean's soon-to-be wife. Sean, potentially criminal.
Yep.
Hello. You noticed him, did you? Interesting. So you notice things. I know you notice things. Okay. So moving on with these theories just for a second. Keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
It doesn't matter where the rounds came from. What matters is she admitted to being the one who loaded the gun and wished she would have checked it better. That was her job, to ensure safety on set, per her words. Case closed. Why does it need to be proven how the love rounds got on set?
Live rounds.
Live. Okay.
Love rounds.
Her job was to check for live rounds. She checked them by shaking an entire box and spinning the chamber, not individually. 90% of the purpose of the armorer is to maintain safety with firearms, and she failed.
True.
What? Irrelevant to the crime. She loaded and said she checked the gun. Alec is toast also. Oops, I shot spouse in head, but I thought it was unloaded. Did you watch the same trial? It doesn't matter where the rounds came from. She, the armorer, loaded the gun, said it was cold, didn't check, and someone died. Prosecution nailed it. Emo.
Okay, this last one is interesting to me because it's like, well, a lot of people feel this way, and yeah, keep going.
It's ridiculous they would make Baldwin remotely responsible considering he is just the actor. Yeah, just the actor.
He's just the actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hire professionals to handle the armory prior to handing it to the actors. Those are the ones who are guilty, not the actor.
Not the actor. He's just the actor.
Yeah. He's just
frankly, I think most of those comments are actually like PR
bots.
related. Yeah, bots. By Baldwin's got plenty of money to hire a group to do that for him, and he'd be a fool not to. And in any case, even if he didn't think of it, his lawyers would think of it. He's got 2 big Wall Street level lawyers working on his case. So, and mostly they do civil litigation, which is they're used to having resources to shape public opinion around the cases they're working on.
Well, that's really interesting. So I remember that people said that Amber Heard had like bots and that talking about how like it was
especially more recently.
Yeah, that would have been were probably just fans of Amber who were bot sophisticated, but this would be like a professional organization.
Bot sophisticated. But I mean, he does have a big fan base, or does he? I don't know. I think he does. Yeah. And like,
well, the prosecution kept calling him a so-called A-list actor.
A so-called A-list actor.
That's probably what he's doing as he watches that.
I mean, are there people out there who really do think this way? Who think that it's not his fault? It can't possibly be his fault. Someone handed him the gun. He just really, it can't be his fault. Like
popular with the left, so
there are just too many of them, and they pop up in my feeds too frequently for
really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone's running queries to look for threads that talk about this case, and
all right, let's keep going. Oh, we're on to this. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's go. I know you've all been waiting for this.
Wild Western gun guy points revolver at judge during Hannah Gutierrez's Rust movie trial.
That was horrifying.
Yeah. If that gun had fired, it would have been the county's fault, according to the defense strategy. Who is this guy? Expert for the defense? It's been cleared. That guy is an expert firearms witness. Thankfully, that lawman was clued in.
Wow.
Was he just like friends with the lawyer?
Okay, so
I think so, actually. Yeah.
Let's see this guy's reaction, because there's been a lot of reactions from around the YouTube.
I played the cannon in the orchestra.
Nightline fairly routinely.
Got a hammer.
Revolver.
All right, first of all, everybody's nervous. Because you have not demonstrated to us that they are unloaded. So before you start showing us the weapons, make sure they're unloaded, including that one that you just touched.
Because they approached. So he's gonna flip. Oh, don't point at the judge! Don't point at the judge!
And Whoa! Just saw that in the corner of her eye.
Prosecutor's like, jury, you getting this? Jury, do you see what just happened?
Yeah. So, there's one. Alrighty. And our friends over at Publicly Buzzed. Hey guys, good to see you. They just started watching the Joel Jr. trial, which we watched on our channel a little while back. So good to see you guys. Alrighty, let's have. Can you do that? Can you do Dan's voice?
No.
Because no.
No.
No. You can't do impressions. No, okay.
Had to make a video out of this madness that just happened during the Rust trial. Hannah Gutierrez. Defense team brought in a firearms expert who then pointed a gun at the courtroom and the judge. Yeah, the prosecutor in that one gave the rifle to the defendant, Dean Cummings, and had him demonstrate, and he pointed it at her. Then they realized it wasn't checked.
it's amazing how ironic this is, Guy, from back then, that it was the same sort of thing happened in the Cummins trial. But anyway, moving on.
So we have a trial on the careless and inappropriate use of firearms that resulted in a death by being careless and inappropriate with firearms. Is the most 2024 thing to date. And I thought the gun shenanigans with Murdaugh's trial was substandard. I stand corrected. By the end, this is the first time in court Hannah looked a little sad. Yeah.
I don't know, like, how do you remember what she looked like after this this expert testimony?
Yeah.
Andrew? Did she look a bit deflated?
I don't remember. No. She was mostly expressionless for much of the trial.
Yeah.
This is wild.
Was the judge's face priceless?
Yeah.
The judge was upset, and she was not nearly as upset as she should have been.
Yeah.
No way. If that were me, I would have thrown myself off the bench. I would have.
Yeah.
You know, guns kill people. If a muzzle sweeps at me, I'm hitting the floor.
That's why we're there.
The end is wild. The defense looked defeated by the end of the day. Did they?
Yeah. They seemed a little subdued.
Okay. There we go.
The last witness literally destroyed the defense's case, and her father didn't even take the stand.
Her father? Yes. I don't think her father wants anything to do with this.
No, I think he's defending her, actually.
Well, like, not in court, though.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, he's the dad, but... And
the prosecution could have used him against him very easily.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Well, they would have. I mean, the questions write themselves.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, under what circumstances is it appropriate to put a live round in a gun on a movie set? Which is what the defendant did. She says she loaded the gun, right? There's no evidence anybody else loaded the gun. What's he going to say? Well, sometimes it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So keep going, please.
You don't mean the expert witness who pointed his firearm at the judge, do you?
All right. So then Mr. Ian Runkle came along, and as he did last week, he piped in and comes along and did a little sort of role play in his tweets.
Yes. And now we're going to call this guy A to the
Hang on. He went defense.
Oh, okay. Defense.
Yep.
And now we're going to call this guy to talk about proper gun safety with these guns. Dude proceeds to wave the gun around, flagging the entire courtroom. Good move, defense. Well, gonna mock this guy too. Yes, the Elf Lord.
You're not finished.
Well, I said, well, gonna mock this guy too. Fuck.
Oh, he said fuck, and then we're gonna watch it.
I was gonna
mock this guy too. No, you can say it. It's all right. I've never gotten in any trouble for that kind of thing. Alrighty. Okay, so, but was it a replica which cannot shoot? And then Ian said,
hey, if I am ever a judge, someone pointed an unverified, as it was at that time, gun at me, and I can tell you how that'll go. It'll be well defense. Do you want your expert to testify by video link from jail?
Yeah. And of course, the gun on the set of Rust was supposed to be unloaded, or it was supposed to be loaded with dummies. So supposed to be is not good enough.
Clearly.
Defense holding the judge at gunpoint is a brave strategy. Well, they could hold the jury at gunpoint. That could work too. And there's a meme for that. So remember, iron sights are better than insight. So does anyone remember? That's Binger, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, good times. There's a bit of a blast from the past. No pun intended. Yeah. So that was the Rittenhouse trial, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No sights on that rifle at all. There's no sights.
No. I don't know. What was he trying to demonstrate there?
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, there are no sights. So
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Now, legal bites, and I know I'm not really that familiar with this lady, but I think she covered the trial.
Yes.
Yeah. No opinions. I don't really watch her. So, but she's come along and she's a lady, so I'll do it in a lady voice. I've seen some criticism over her stoicism in this photo. To those people, I ask, what expression would you expect her to have in a booking photo? And then we've got Eric Hunley, who's come along and gone, Darlie?
Agree. Do they want her to smile, to cry? She would be criticized regardless of the expression on her face. I think it's the perfect tone given the circumstances. Isn't it interesting? It's like a filter on her. Facts. How else is she supposed to act? Yeah, I really don't get people who pick apart booking photos.
I'll agree with that last statement. I don't really understand people who pick apart photos like this, because what's she going to do? Is she going to go, or hey mom, or smile, or what? And there's so much talk about what her expressions were throughout the trial. I think she generally, she did, we spoke about this last week, didn't we, Andrew? What's she going to do throughout the trial? She did probably what her lawyers told her to do, and that's just try and not show any emotion.
Or maybe she's sociopathic.
Hang on.
I mean,
we've got your thing about that.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember if I talked about it already.
Yeah,
that's my comment.
It's your turn. Yeah. So you made it onto the screen. In fact, you can read that in your voice.
All right. Some guy called Law of Self-Defense on Twitter now explained Hannah Gutierrez's chirpy 2-hour plus police interrogation on November 9th, 2021, when she's in the TradCon dress with the ribbon in her hair. Contrast that with somber demeanor of Sarah Zachary, Sherilyn Schaefer, Joel Souza, David Halls, Serge Svitnoy, etc. at trial. Gutierrez presents as a sociopath. Yeah, I mean, at the defense table, she should be stoic. I'm sure that's what her lawyer told her. In booking, she's probably in shock. Very few people have been booked and had their mugshot taken, so they don't know how to respond. And it's all done in a very clinical way anyway. So you hardly even know your people are going to end up looking at your photo. You're not thinking about that at all. But during that police interview on November 9th, where she's in that little TradCon dress, she expresses no sorrow at all over the death of Helena Hutchins. It's almost like she I don't know, broke a piece of the set or something, and she knows she's going to be held accountable, and she hopes it doesn't hurt her career, that she knocked a piece of the set over in the middle of filming, or made a noise when after action was called and they had to redo it again, and it's like it's some kind of modest workplace embarrassment. Someone died.
My bad.
Yeah, and
oopsie.
Right, and that's where I would have expected to have seen just some natural human sorrow, that something involving her work conduct resulted in somebody's death.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not the booking photo. I don't know why. Did anyone really criticize the booking photo? I don't believe
they talked a lot about it.
Yeah.
The booking photo. I don't even remember it.
Now, when Kim Potter, the taser.
Oh yeah,
lady, she actually had a smile in the booking photo, and the prosecution used it against her. And she had that smile because someone told her, a joke just before the photo snapped. She wasn't smiling about the death.
No, but they used it.
Toys.
I think they told her to smile.
Or stretch your graphics. Helen knows.
Yeah.
We're both graphic designers. We are both equally stressed about the stretching of the photo. Do not stretch the photo. Driving us mental. Why'd they stretch it? It took all of my might not to push it back in place, but I did it. I still believe Alex was throwing a temper tantrum, whether it was loaded or not. he pointed it at her and pulled the trigger. I don't think he meant to do it, but you never know.
You don't think he meant to do what? You don't think he meant to shoot her dead?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no one
Yeah,
believes he meant to shoot her dead, but
maybe scare her.
he meant to point the gun at her and pull the trigger. That's even he says he's not denying any of that. I mean, he denies he pulled the trigger, but we know, and he may believe that to be true. I mean, if you put him on a polygraph machine, he'd probably pass. But we know the gun can't fire unless the trigger's pulled. It can't be decocked. And even in his rehearsal, he's cocking it, and to decock it, he's got to press the trigger. I mean, each time he does that rehearsal move, he's got to press the trigger again. So there's no way he wasn't pressing the trigger. And all he has to do is point what he knows to be a real gun at her. That's enough as far as I'm concerned. If the gun goes off and you kill someone, that's manslaughter. But he did more. He cocked the hammer, he pressed the trigger, and the gun fired. And he did all that without obviously ensuring there was no live ammo in the gun. And that's simply lacking due care and circumspection and causing someone's death while handling an inherently dangerous instrument, the gun. That's just involuntary manslaughter.
Yep. Absolutely. Okie dokie. Alrighty, so moving on. More from you. Fancy that. Fancy that. Okay, so would you be able to read more of your own voice?
Sure. Law of self-defense. Holy cow. Watch the Hannah Gutierrez Rust trial defense firearms expert in scare quotes commit 9 muzzle violations in less than 3 minutes, including muzzling the judge, complete with freeze frames and buzzer sound effect. I made a little movie. Also, get a free copy of my book, Law of Self-Defense Principles. Link in comments.
I love that little last bit. And yes, you can get a free book. If you go to the
lawofselfdefense.com/free book. Easy enough to remember.
Indeed. Do we have is your mod here today? Is Shane here?
Yeah, I think I saw him. I'm not sure he's in your stream, but he commented. I think he commented on we're simul streaming to the Law of Self-Defense YouTube channel. I think he commented there, but it looks like it came into the StreamYard comments.
Fantastic. Yes, cool. So hello, Shane. And yes, absolutely. It's great to have you here. David's here. Don't point a gun at someone unless you intend to pull the trigger. I think you think he intended. Well, you never know. They may up the charges yet. And David, I hope everything's okay. David said before that one of his horses has a sore eye, so that's why he's running a bit late. I hope you can make it, David, because we're going to be talking about the Crumbley trial really shortly. Okay, so there are the reactions to that. Would you like to read them, please, darling?
Is he related to Baldwin by chance? Man, that was pretty brutal to watch. Ugh, anytime someone paints a room with a muzzle, I squirm hard. Never go full beaner.
Never go full beaner.
I wouldn't want this guy handling a box of donuts. This is like looking at a bad accident. I want to look away, but I can't.
All right. So you did make a little video, and I enjoyed it. Let's watch it.
Yes, Sharon. Sir, if you could have the deputy who handles this, but if you could retrieve the firearms from behind you.
Do it in public, and I will clarify that it is not loaded. Okay?
Take your word for it.
Mr. Kuski, are you able to take the cylinder out so you can show everyone also that it's unloaded?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
That's something important. And here is an NX revolver.
So, Your Honor, I'm going to object. All right, first of all, everybody's nervous.
I would have jumped out of my seat.
You have not demonstrated to us that they are unloaded. So before you start showing us the weapons, make sure they're unloaded, including that one that you just touched.
He's pointing at his own hand.
Yeah.
I know. It's a boom. No fingers. Oh, God. Oh, dear.
This is why I don't go to public gun ranges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, blows his hand off.
Oh no.
Remember, this gun fires rounds that went completely through Helena Hutchins and into Joel Souza. Okay, these are powerful rounds.
Oh dear. I'm laughing, but it's not funny.
And this would be the real gun now, the one he would say was real. He still muzzled himself. The first one was supposedly the replica. Though, how would we know for sure, right? Not based on this guy's judgment.
Yeah.
And he made this little tool out of a coat hanger. So this is not like an armorer's tool. He just fabricated it at home. Muzzled his arm.
Really? He just made it out of a coat hanger?
Muzzled his arm. And this is the last one. He muzzles his elbow, I think. You'd lose your arm below the elbow if you did that. It wouldn't fall off, but they'd have to surgically remove it.
What's that strap on him?
I don't know. A man purse? I don't know.
Man purse.
It's a satchel.
That
like
was
Indiana
a fake.
Jones.
That was a fake gun. It can't fire anything. Well, but how's anyone to know that, Moon Goddess? Though.
And it's a replica by design. It looks just like a real gun.
Yeah, like no one really knew that, did they? I mean, is that the point though? That no one knew that?
Yeah.
How could you know? Just because he said that's the replica? I mean, he brought a replica and a real gun. First of all, you have to believe that's true, that it's not two real guns. But even if you believe one's a replica and one's a real gun, you trust this guy to get him right? And in any case, he muzzled with both of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like believing that Helena knows the difference between like a dummy round and a real.
And this guy's not any firearms expert. He's a hobbyist. He's got a lot of money, so he's been able to buy a lot of guns. He does reenactments, but he obviously, I can tell you just by watching how this guy handles a firearm, he's not proficient in the handling of firearms. He's dangerous.
No. So how did he get accepted as an expert? So I didn't see the his being accepted by the judge.
They didn't do the normal process. So the normal process would be like, tell us about your training and education. Tell us about your experience. You know, I went to school to be an armorer, or be a gunsmith, or I was in the military, and I've been an armorer on 30 movies, like the state's armor expert was Brian Carpenter, right? They did that whole thing with him, right? And then they say, Your Honor, we offer him as an expert. No objection. He's admitted as an expert. They didn't do any of that with this guy because this guy can't provide any of that. But I think what happened is the judge was obliged or convinced to sidestep the normal procedure because the defense had screwed up their actual armorer expert. They waited until this past January to notify the court and the state that they were going to have a defense armorer expert. And this is like, just a few weeks before trial. And the state's entitled to interview the defense expert so they can see what he's going to say and pass it by their own expert so they can prepare to cross him. And so the state goes, hey, we got your notice of this armorer expert. So when can we talk to him? And they didn't hear anything back for a week. And they said, listen, another week's gone and we still need to talk to him before the trial. And they never heard back. And then a week before the trial, they're having a pretrial meeting in court with the judge. And the state says, Your Honor, we still haven't had a chance to talk to this guy they're going to present as an armorer expert. And the judge says, well, what about that? And the defense says, yeah, about that. We lost him. They couldn't find him. They weren't able to get him on the phone. So they said, Your Honor, we lost our expert, but we'd like to propose a new expert. And the state said, Your Honor, we're now a week before trial. We don't have time in the last week before the trial to interview their expert, to have that information passed by our expert so we can adequately prepare. And the judge said, that's fair. All right. The defense, you can't bring your armorer expert in. So they were going to have no armorer expert in a trial that's about being an armorer.
Yes.
So I think at the last minute, the judge, and there was a big delay that morning, if you remember. Yeah. I think before the jury came in, before the cameras were rolling in the courtroom, the defense and the state had a talk with the judge, and the defense said, listen, you got to let us have somebody. We know we were late. We managed to scramble together this guy who I personally know. He's a friend of mine.
Found him on the street.
And the state probably said, Your Honor, he doesn't meet any of the qualifications to be a genuine expert. But, listen, if you're the state and you heard this guy talk, because what they would have done is they would have done voir dire on him.
Yeah.
Outside the hearing of the jury, they would have brought that dummy in and put him on the witness stand, and the state would have asked him questions about his expertise and heard his responses. And the state, Carrie Morrissey's a pretty bright girl. She probably heard how stupid this guy was and said, well, if I got to let him have an expert, it may as well be this idiot. And I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Let the idiot in.
When he came up, the judge did at one point ask, do you have an objection to him being an expert? And Carrie Morrissey very carefully said, we don't object within the constraints of the conversation we had at bench. So he was going to be very limited in his claim of expertise.
I agree. I think that Carrie Morrissey is that smart. She's like, let them hang themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like most of the time, either side, if they were clever, wouldn't let an expert in that they didn't want. But him being such an idiot was to their advantage.
Yeah.
And
I don't think Morrissey thought for an instant the guy was going to point a gun at the
it wasn't going to be that bad. But.
No. Well, I mean, she's seen it happen before. But yeah, I mean, having an expert who's an absolute idiot can be awesome. So yeah.
And I see in the comments someone saying they don't think that any armorer would have been willing to testify for Hannah. No, they would have. They would have come in, and either they would have said nonsense, or they would have just told the truth. But like the detective the defense hired, he got on the witness stand and he testified for them and he told the truth. Unfortunately, the only truths he could tell was things that were totally irrelevant to the actual legal theory of the case. Like, ideally the investigator should have separated everybody, or they should not have picked up the revolver without gloves on, or other such nonsense that, sure, in theory, that could have been an issue. Like if we didn't know which gun had fired the shot, maybe that would have been an issue. But it wasn't an issue on the facts of this case because the relevant facts are undisputed.
Yeah. We've all seen expert witnesses with really long CVs go in and just lie in trials, haven't we? We all have seen that.
Yep.
So yeah, of course you can find someone, you just got to meet their price. That's it. But nah, they found this dude. All right. Dali, would you like to read this next bit, please?
She shows zero reaction to the verdict. Oh, yeah, some people don't, shock.
Okay. We'll just show a bit of the verdict.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, through the foreperson, have you reached a verdict?
I think we've probably all seen it.
The verdicts?
We can go. There we go. There she is reacting to the verdict.
Will the defendant please stand?
Yeah. I mean, does she show zero reaction? I don't know. She looks kind of frightened to me.
Of involuntary manslaughter as charged in count 1. Not guilty of tampering with evidence as charged in count 2.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. Let me get those forms, retrieve those forms from you. I'm going to do what's called polling the jury. What I need to put on the record is that
half Irish
individual verdict.
Yeah,
okay?
She'd seen her lawyers all week.
Start with the gentleman.
I mean,
is this your
Balls might not be the smartest,
is this your verdict?
but I think he probably told her, "Look, you're screwed."
Well, and you have to put it in context of, so she's reacting to bad news, right? That's what people are expecting. But what is the bad news? The worst possible news is conviction and the maximum sentence, which is 18 months. It's just not that long, folks.
It's
in most states it would be 10 years, and there might be a gun sentencing enhancement on top of that. So in other states, you could have been looking at 10 to 15 years in prison. That's life changing, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're a young woman.
Yeah.
But she's looking at 18 months. I mean, she'll be out by the time she's 30. She's in county jail now, waiting sentencing, and that'll be a couple months, and that's already 2 months served.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. So those reactions there, please. And I've just blacked out somebody's name. That's why there's a little gap there. That's all.
See, I love you, my ex-friend, but I think she looks like she got punched in the gut. You can see her heavy breathing. Not all people show emotion or process things the same. I bet she cried when those bars closed shut. Look.
Okay.
I get where you're coming from. To me, she just seemed during the trial not really much impacted, And I think the way she came across in the police interviews just didn't put her in a good light.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's for sure. The police interviews were rough. I agree. I just feel like you should go numb at a certain point in the court process. I dealt with courts with my abusive ex, and you eventually disassociate. I think she was impacted with Dave Hall's testimony as well. And
Yeah.
I think she expected to get the verdict she got.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I agree with the first person that I actually feel like she looks like she got punched in the gut. Like when she sat down, it was like,
Yeah.
"Ugh, okay, I give up." But yeah, I mean, they're told not to react. Like, just all this. Everyone just expects these people to put on this show, like, because you're watching it, and I feel like people like expect the defendants to like cry on cue and like grimace on cue and all this kind of stuff. And when they don't do it, it's like, well, that shows that they sort of fill in the gaps with what that means.
Yeah.
And it's not a show. It's not a soap opera. It's court. And yeah, you're not supposed to give all these reactions. So anyway, now I wanted to show this. This is from TikTok, because it starts to talk, and people, of course, are starting to talk about how this affects the Alec Baldwin trial. And people will obviously be looking to lawyers like yourself and commentators, Andrew, about what's going to happen next. So let's have a bit of a look at this.
Jury has just announced a verdict in the trial of Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, the armorer on the set of the ill-fated Alec Baldwin film Rust. Alec Baldwin's trial is now set for July 9th. This verdict is very positive for his case. This means that somebody has been held legally, criminally culpable for the death of Helena Hutchins. He's going to say that in his particular case, it's not foreseeable. Foreseeability is the critical element here. It wasn't foreseeable that the armorer, the person who is responsible for the safety, maintenance, and care of the firearm and the ammunition, it was not foreseeable that there would be a real bullet in that gun. And Wolf, his defense team, had been in the courtroom, and today during closing arguments, the prosecutors made a statement during their rebuttal argument where they said, it's expected that the actor is going to go off book. It's expected that the actor might mishandle a firearm. That's all for the purposes of convicting Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, but they had a fine line to toe. And I think some of those statements during closing arguments will be very, very difficult to overcome for the prosecution during the trial of Alec Baldwin.
Who's speaking there? Is that supposed to be someone in a position to know what they're talking about? Because
No,
what they're saying
no.
is
I mean, it's TikTok, so no.
Oh, okay. All right.
What do you think? No, it's TikTok. So, and good question, because like, does it matter? I mean, like, what do you think anyway?
No, this doesn't help. This doesn't help Alec Baldwin at all. It does nothing to. It doesn't touch upon any of the elements of the legal arguments the state's bringing against them, which is that he pointed what he knew to be a real gun at another human being, operated the gun without ensuring there was not live ammo in it, and killed somebody. It doesn't matter what Hannah Gutierrez did. It's his. Alec Baldwin, not only has he been in 75 movies, many of which involved him handling guns, where he would have gotten gun safety training, every one of those movies. He knows guns are dangerous. He's on the board of a gun control organization here in the U.S. because guns are dangerous. So he can't claim he doesn't know that real guns can kill people. He's been trained on never pointing a gun at another person. That's right in the SAG. That's in safety bulletin number 1 that all the actors get. And he would have heard that his entire career. So if you know it's a real gun and you don't ensure there's no ammo in it, and you point it at someone and you operate it and it makes a loud noise and kills them, that was handling a gun without due care and circumspection, which is what involuntary manslaughter is.
Absolutely.
And by the way, someone was held criminally accountable before Hannah was convicted. David Halls has a conviction for negligent handling of a firearm. That didn't help Hannah.
it happens all the time that multiple people are convicted on the same grounds. Like, this is the thing though, and lots of people are saying it, and credible people, not just whoever on TikTok. Lots of people are saying it, and the reason I just got this one out is because the thing is that, like, I could go and get like Court TV or someone like that out, but we hear all their stuff all the time. This show here is about what the people are saying. Someone has been already put to the justice system and they've been convicted, and Baldwin has been saying all along, oh, it's her fault, right? So does that mean, and you've said it already, Andrew, but does that mean that bodes well for his case? No. Like, he's talked himself already into jail, is like, it seems like he's completely separate.
Yeah, he has his own entirely independent criminal liability here.
He does. I think for people to just think that he's now off scot-free, when he's just gone and run his mouth to not just the cops but to the media as well, and gone and just said a bunch of different stories. The things that have come out at this trial have gone and refuted a lot of things that he said as well. Like, didn't he go and say at one point that he didn't even fire the gun?
Yeah, in the media interview.
Yeah. I mean, hasn't it been proven that this particular firearm can't just go off?
Yeah,
like
they tested it.
Right.
They tested it.
He wants to believe. And by the way, he may think he's telling the truth. I don't know. I can't read his mind. But he may be telling himself, I never touched the trigger, so the hammer must have just dropped. All by itself. Because you have to understand, once you cock that hammer all the way, the amount of pressure you need to put on the trigger is almost nothing. I mean, it's literally what we would call a hair trigger. It's quite possible to depress it without really knowing you're pressing it. I mean, just having your finger in the trigger guard, you're almost certainly going to depress the trigger and drop the hammer.
So, why do you think Baldwin would not be prosecuted? That's a different topic, I suppose. Like, because he's who he is.
Why wouldn't he be prosecuted?
No, Baldwin says Sulosi Flay says Baldwin will not be prosecuted. I mean, it's taken a long time to get to this point, but I think now that we're here, I don't think that they could go backwards, could they? Politics.
No, I don't.
No.
Carrie Morton's not going backwards.
No,
I don't
it's pretty much up to her, right?
Yeah, I think it's done now.
I just don't see any feasible plan by which this would change at this point.
Yeah.
And the people who would be politically influenced have washed their hands of this. So the elected local prosecutor, she didn't want anything to do with this case in the beginning. I mean, she basically made up a story and said, "Listen, we need a special prosecutor here because I'm too busy. I have too many cases in my office. So I don't want to do it because she still wants to go to the cocktail parties, right? This is a very liberal part of New Mexico, which is liberal anyway. And the community desperately wants more movie production in the area. Movie production brings in a lot of money, and a lot of money from the state, because the state gives grants, essentially tax breaks to production, and production spends that money on local film people. So it's great for the economy. They don't want to mess that up. They love having actors come in and being seen at the local restaurants. The other elites of society who go to those same high-end restaurants to get a big thrill out of that. They don't want to ruin this little game they have going. So the politically appointed or elected people, they don't want to be involved, but they handed it off to a special prosecutor. Now, ironically, the first special prosecutor then became politically involved. She ran for state legislature, and you can't do both, it turns out. I guess she didn't know. So they had to get rid of her, and that, in effect, got rid of the indictment. And then they were like, well, the FBI's got the gun, so why don't we wait for them to finish their testing of the gun? And by then, Carrie Morrissey had been appointed as special prosecutor, and she'd indicted Gutierrez. So that trial was coming. And then the gun data came back from the FBI And Carrie said, well, that's all I need. Now I can indict Baldwin, which she did for the second time in January.
All right. So Mr. David from Making Law Simple Network is about to pop on. He has been out of his stables trying to fix a poor horsey's eye that was all like shut and infected, I think. But he's popping on just right now. So we're just going to get into this section here. And it's only a short section. We hope you can stick around for a little bit, Andrew. That was the main part of the show. So in Michigan, history is repeating, or is it? And I like Biff Tannen. I'm not really like, he was not my favorite character, obviously, but Biff Tannen from Back to the Future.
I thought All right, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. And you can see that it's morning here in Australia because all the murderous birds out there are starting to tweet. Okay, so now Jennifer Coffinlicker, or Coffin Dafter, or whatever we like to call her, from Twitter, she's got her own podcast now. God save us. And you know her from Twitter, right, Andrew?
Yeah, I've heard the name. I don't remember which. What's that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that broad. Yeah. Oh yeah, she's crazy.
Yeah, that broad. That broad.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So what she likes to do, she likes to get on Twitter and she puts her theories out, which dispel all of the reasonable doubt before any trial has happened, and she puts the pictures of the victims up to make us all feel very sad. So she's come along and gone, as we talk about the James Crumbley trial, it is important to keep the victims in mind, as well as the possible mindset of the person who committed the mass shooting. Maybe we can prevent others. So she now has she put videos out now.
I have had people tell me that they were planning to commit violent offenses, and they didn't commit the offense because somebody was nice to them, and someone just came up to them and said, "You okay? How you doing? Have a good day." And this can make or break whether the person goes out and commits a violent act. It is very important because you're talking about a person who feels completely alone and invisible, and one kind person can be enough. There are even mass shooting cases I've reviewed where the person will go around shooting people and intentionally skip over a person who had been nice to them when they were in school. It sounds trite, but we don't realize how important it is to be the one who goes to a person being bullied and says, "I kind of like you the way you are, that you're all right." That's the key to this stuff, is that these people are alone. Don't give people a proximal event. Don't give them the match that is set to the straw, right? Be kind to them.
Yeah. So yeah, if you don't know who she is, she's ex-FBI, and basically what she does is she gets on like Nancy Grace and stuff like that, and she has a really, really big Twitter reach. And I don't even follow her. See, I see this follow button, right? So I don't follow her. Yeah, I see all of her tweets because she just comes up in my feed. I can't like not see her. Yeah. Okay, so would you like to read these responses?
On the right?
Yes, please.
I've been kind to terrible people, and they all were terrible. Like the story of nursing the snake back to health, and it bites you. The kid couldn't have been more clear he needed help if he was waving a big white flag. Those parents can't be reached. We need to start teaching kids very young the stresses of parenting. Working and managing your what? We need to start teaching kids very young the stresses of parenting.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
Working and managing your life. Okay. Because apparently his parents missed the boat.
Okay. So you need to teach kids about parenting so that they can be better. Okay, right. Yep. Right. Anyway, now, there's been some controversy about James Crumbley apparently making some phone calls threatening somebody from prison or jail. Sorry, he's not in prison. He's in jail. Now, we don't know who he's been calling, what he's been saying to whom, but the judge everybody except the prosecution have been trying to keep this quiet, but there's been some leaks. Right. So let's just watch a little bit of this TikToker, not the whole thing, because she goes on for a while, but just this first bit.
James Crumbley is currently on trial, and now his phone privileges have been restricted over threatening statements he was making from jail. We're going to talk about it. If you are not familiar with who this man is, he is the father of the student that caused the Oxford High School tragedy back in 2019. I'll explain at the end of the video why we don't say his name. This is happening in Pontiac, Michigan, and a judge signed an order to limit phone and electronic messages of defendant James Crumbley, who again is the father of the Oxford High School tragedy maker. Crumbley has been in jail since December 4th, 2021, and was allegedly making threatening statements on the phone and in messages. How dumb can you be? It looks like when this was initially brought up in court near the end of his first day of trial, there was some people uncomfortable. They said we shouldn't bring this up in front of the media, but they did wind up bringing it up. This states that once Crumbley was handed the proposed order about restricting his phone use, he read it and whispered loudly to his attorney, "No, no." Yeah, I bet you don't want your privileges taken away, but you shouldn't have been allegedly threatening people from jail where it's recorded.
Allegedly.
After whispering back and forth, the defense attorney informed the court that her client would not agree to the order because it is restricting him to speak to people. The prosecutor explained the proposed order aims to limit his communication to counsel and clergy. Still disagreed with the order, and the judge replied, "Does he know in 10 minutes that there is going to be an article about him?" Crumbley appeared to get worked up over that, but I'm glad the judge said it. Even after all of Crumbley's gripes about it, the prosecutor informed the court that the order would revoke his communications during the trial, but not limit his ability to research or participate in his defense, and the order will expire upon the verdict. And they also said, "Can you please talk to him about the conduct, aka the threatening statements that got us here?" The judge said that has been addressed. While we're here talking about James Crumbley, let's go over a few of the updates from the trial. As a reminder, he is charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter because his son took lives, and this that was used, James bought it 3 days before and gifted it to his son, despite signing a form that said it was illegal to buy this for someone else. The next day, Jennifer, the mother who has already been found guilty, brought her son to a shooting range with that. On the day of the tragedy, the Crumbleys were called to Oxford High School for a meeting with a counselor. The counselor was concerned because of drawings and other things on the assailant's phone.
Okay.
The counselor suggested that he be removed from school, but the Crumbleys refused.
No.
2 hours later, the tragedy happened. They could have just taken him home. I did want to point this out. On day 2 of trial, the defense challenged whether James was telling his son to suck it up was about mental health issues. On redirect, the prosecutor read the full text, and that showed that the assailant was telling his friend he was seeing things, he was hallucinating, but they didn't get him help. Instead, they got him this, and lives were lost.
Okay, that's probably enough from this.
Point out,
that's probably enough from this lady. Right.
How?
So David said back here in comments in chat, sorry, and David is trying really hard to get onto stream. He's having trouble with his audio right now. So 2 things that David said, actually. Let's just go back.
First.
Okay, so there's no evidence of any threats. This is all BS. And the other thing he said was, what's a stipulated order? Agreed
it was
to.
A stipulated order.
It was a stipulated order, and it was agreed to by both sides. Okay, so it's amazing how these things end up completely. Because this lady is reading a news article. Yeah. She's not making it up, and it's amazing how these things are misreported by the press, isn't it? Oh, hello. Hey, how's it going?
Is he muted?
Muted?
Yeah, most common thing in the world is the massive misinformation campaigns around these high-profile trials. Sometimes deliberate, sometimes just because the misinformation will get people more clicks than the truth.
Yeah.
or they get emotional satisfaction over believing this a particular narrative of events. They can point the finger of guilt and shame.
Cross
Guilty,
state lines.
guilty.
Right.
It was him.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Now we can.
Now
Okay.
we can.
I
Hello?
missed. I heard that they were talking about the alleged threats, and then I didn't hear. Where you went from there.
Threats.
That was such BS.
Was it?
Well, so the thing is that it was an oral motion. Let's first of all say that literally in another assistant prosecutor showed up in the courtroom and said, "I want to address an oral motion." There's no written record of this, and said very tongue-in-cheekly, "This is, I want to address my motion essentially to restrict James's communication." And then the defense said, "I object to addressing this motion publicly when it's already being dealt with privately, because all it's going to do is paint my client in bad light." And then they went out in the hallway, the attorney for James and the prosecutor, and they came back with an agreement that simply said, "All right, we are going to agree that James can communicate with his attorney, with clergy, and can do research, but otherwise he's not going to have any communication." So then the news media went digging and tried to figure out what was going on. And apparently the Oakland County Sheriff said that there was allegedly some sort of threats that James had made. Now, what that means, who knows? Was it him saying, "Hey, if you don't testify on my behalf, I'm going to get convicted"? Is that considered a threat? We have no idea who he said what to and who it was to. We don't know anything, but there's a gag order in place. And the allegation was that he was making these threats, but also maybe violating the gag order. So did the Oakland County Sheriff violate the gag order by talking about this to the media as well? There's all kinds of nonsense going on here.
Right. And I thought so, David, and that's why I really wanted you to be here to explain that, because it sounded really fishy to me. I saw that that oral argument at the end of the Monday, or not Monday, at the end of the Thursday, and it was all very confusing, and then all this stuff came out in the media, and it just was like, oh, hang on, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I had to go back and actually rewatch it a second time because I was if you guys don't know, I've been streaming this, but I'm not offering commentary at the time, and so I was just sort of listening to it, and I was actually driving, and then trying to coordinate shutting down the stream and stuff at the end of it, so I wasn't really paying attention. And then I went back and listened to exactly what was going on. I went through the court docket. There was no motion filed, even under seal. Nothing was filed. Like, you could tell if something is filed if it's not even available to the public. It'll say it's there, but you can't have access to it. There's nothing filed, and it was very weird the way it came up.
Okay, so Mikey 197799 says, was he threatening Jennifer Crumbley? Maybe she will testify for state for reduced sentence.
I doubt they can communicate.
They're not allowed to communicate. Inmate to inmate communication is prohibited. So there would have been no way for him to get on the phone. Apparently this was with a phone call. And so there would have been no way for him to have gotten on the phone to call his wife at the other part of the Oakland County Jail.
Yeah.
So it was
also, isn't she not able to testify because of her appellate?
Oh yeah, she's not going to testify because of appellate reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay, thank you for answering that. So, Dahlia, could you please read out these? Oh my God, there's a murder bird outside. Dahlia, could you please read out these comments?
I watched Jennifer's trial also. They both seem negligent in so many ways. It's an awful situation. They are guilty for sure. When you said his name, I didn't know who you were talking about, but then the backstory brought it all back, and since day one, I blamed the parents. Pretty clear the parents don't care. They are just as responsible for this tragedy. I hope they have the day they deserve. Yeah, but not the school.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So if you really want to get into some comments, you go to Reddit. Right. So I went over to
I
Reddit.
stay away from Reddit so bad. When I searched Crumbley, a ton of Reddit stuff came up, and it's just a cesspool.
Okay, so if I want to dig deep into a case, I go to Reddit because you get all of the good exhibits and stuff like that. And so I went to Reddit just to see what people were saying. And yeah, Dali, go for your life.
So lawyer, on YouTube said that he'd suspect witness intimidation.
What lawyer? I don't know that lawyer. Do you know that lawyer? The one you know.
He said it's possible this will be admitted as evidence into the trial, but if it's not, then it shouldn't come up.
Well, that's the thing too, and with conjunction with the Turtle Boy case, I actually went over the witness intimidation statute here in Michigan, and one of the exceptions to witness intimidation, like you can't encourage a witness to testify and lie and things like that. But one of the blatant exceptions that's mentioned twice is that you can encourage a witness to tell the truth. So depending on what you're saying, or just to appear even is fine. You know, like these are exceptions.
Okay, keep going.
I see. I was wondering if it was witness intimidation. Guess we will have to wait and see. I hope it actually is entered as evidence, though, so we can find out. Because apparently,
just so you can find out.
Yeah, because it's all about you.
Yeah.
Because apparently, if it's not, then we'll never learn more about it. No, you'll
someone's
learn.
here. Hey, hello.
Oh, hey, buddy.
How are you? Let me just adjust this.
Hey, Sean.
Hello.
Hey,
hey Bronco.
Good
Hey,
to
Dolly.
have
Hey, man.
you.
So,
I'll make you all bigger.
phrasing.
I can do it. I can do it. I can do it.
So
Keep
I
going.
can't imagine how it wouldn't be evidence if it was witness intimidation / tampering. So nuts. And then agreed. Also, exactly who would he call? He's calling from a jail. How could he not realize they track his calls? And agreed, depending on what he says and to which witness, it's definitely tampering. You don't even know what he said.
You don't know what he said. You don't know who he said it to. You don't know what they're categorizing as a threat. You know, like I said, it could have been, hey, it could have been to like his ex-wife that said, hey, if you don't testify, I'm going to get convicted here. Well, now he's threatening a witness. Really?
Hey, good to see you, Sean. Thanks for popping in. Always love having you here. At the moment, we're talking about the James Crumbley trial, which is only 2 days in. We've already covered some of the Russ stuff, and yeah, we're probably, I don't know, only got about sort of 10, 15 minutes to go. And poor David, his horsey had a sore eye, so he's out on the road at the moment. But yeah, thank you, David, for popping in as well. And we've got Andrew's whole audience is here, so it's really nice to see all of Andrew's people. Yes. Hi, good to have you guys here. So we're broadcasting all the way out to all of those guys. Everyone who's not used to having us over on your channel, it's lovely to see you all. So welcome. All right, so let's keep going. And of course, the conversation has to come back to the last trial and the controversy about the defense attorney for Jennifer. Everyone has to talk about Shannon Smith again, because she was, you know, what everyone was talking about a couple of weeks ago. So, Dali, would you like to read that first comment there?
Just glad Shannon Smith isn't defense attorney. Couldn't handle another trial with that one.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Right, let's keep going.
Amen. It's bad enough that they have the same judge, but I can put up with her. I know, but don't like judge. I can't understand her. Beck, she mumbles, and I have volume up all way, and I can't hear shit.
Geez, people complain a lot, huh?
Yeah, no kidding.
All right. It's like, is this okay? It's okay. You don't have to watch it. And
well, Well, so here's the thing, though, is that I agree that the television feed is really quiet. I've been streaming the Zoom feed, which is much louder, and you can actually hear the judge. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Speaking of Shannon Smith, though, Friday night, I did a compare and contrast, uncivil and legally live were on my panel with me, and we watched the cross-examination of the crying cop. From first we watched Shannon Smith from Jennifer Crumbley's trial, and then we watched James' attorney, and it's night and day. It's night and day. So I feel like this is like a little science experiment.
Yeah.
You know how you manipulate only one variable at a time, and the variable we're manipulating is a defense attorney. We're going to see how this turns out.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's kind of what's being said down here, because I've got some Reddit comments about this as well. So, Ali?
Yay, here we go, team. Ugh. Excited to see how Marielle is different from Shannon. I'm sure I'll miss Shannon's antics, though. God, antics. James was the obvious winner when it came to deciding which attorney would represent him versus Jennifer. It's going to be absolutely wild if he's innocent after Jennifer was guilty.
Well, okay, that's a fair point. So, imagine if he got a not guilty after Jennifer got a guilty, is that even possible now? I mean,
yeah, it is possible.
Sure, different jury.
Different jury,
different lawyers, I presume.
Are the facts different? I mean,
sorry, I was muted. It's definitely possible. The facts are different too, and like one of the most glaring differences between the two that we've only gone 2 days of trial, right? We've only had, I think, 4 or 5 witnesses. But one of the biggest differences is that James was texting Ethan's friend's dad. And in that text communication, it wasn't brought in Jennifer's trial because it wasn't a text between Jennifer and them. You can really see that James was concerned about Ethan and the fact that Ethan couldn't get a hold of his friend and what was going on. There's also communication back from Ethan's friend's father to James saying, never saw anything wrong with Ethan. This is a shocker. So there's a lot of things in there that weren't admitted at Jennifer's trial that could very much help James. Because he seems more concerned about his son and actually reaching out to his friend's father and, hey, what's going on? Ethan's concerned and things like that. So he seems more involved.
Okay, that's very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing that coming in. So I just wonder whether or not it could end up going a different way. Alrighty.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, but
okay. I always find this funny. Every time I look through any comments, people keep asking the same question over and over again. Why is he wearing headphones? Why is he deaf? Why does he have headphones on? Why does he have headphones on? It's like, oh my God, guys, he can't. He's a little bit poor of hearing. It's not that.
Yeah, it's common. Or he needs to hear the sidebars or whatever.
I just don't get why people ask the same question over and over again. Do you guys, like, when you stream things, do you just like go nuts when people just ask the same question over and over again?
Sometimes.
They're just headphones. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
The headphones have masks, though. That's the funny part.
Oh, they have. You are right, though. It's like that would be a better question. Why do the headphones have little masks on them?
Yes.
All right. So this is lawyer
thing.
Yes. Yeah. True. We don't want to get guilty germs on the headphones.
Yeah.
All right. So this is lawyer Lee. I don't know whether or not you've seen her channel before. She's got quite a big channel. It's 147,000 subscribers or something like that. So quite a big base of followers. And so she did a breakdown of the first couple of days. And I had a watch of that. It was about an hour stream. And so what I did was, because she has different kinds of views. When I say different kinds of views, people with different kinds of views in her chat and in her comment section. So I thought that was a good place to look for a range of different views. That's what I try to do on this channel. And so I went and I had a look at her comment section, and her video was called "Is Shooter's Dad Threatening Witnesses? James Crumbley Trial Lawyer Live." So, Dali, could you please read those ones?
Who is he making threatening statements to? I just figured out why Jennifer requested a separate trial. She didn't want James to see her lover boy. Okay.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think we all know that the state bifurcated the trials.
No, it was the defense.
Oh,
it was the defense.
That bifurcated. Yeah, so there were 2 witnesses placed on the witness list that apparently were from Florida. And we still don't know who exactly they were, because they ended up not being called at Jennifer's trial. But that led Jennifer to file a motion to bifurcate, and then James shortly after filed the motion also to bifurcate. Okay. And the state just agreed to it. So that's exactly what. So that's what happened.
Okay, all right. So, but it was nothing to do with Loverboy.
No, it's presumably because they both have family in Florida. The rumor was that it was James's ex-wife was one of them, and for whatever reason, Jennifer and James filed because of that. But nobody from Florida actually appeared to testify in Jennifer's trial. So I'm wondering if they're actually going to appear in James' trial.
Okay. Hello, Jen. You live 10 miles from Oxford. It's good to have you here. Okay, keep going, please. Third one.
What could James Crumbley do? Well, it's like this. If he ever gets his hands on a pew-pew and you don't agree with him, how on earth did his son get these ideas? If his wife testifies against him, ... what would you think he would do? Buy her a coffee? And not proved in suck it up. Yup, 2 theories is a bad decision and looks like they're all desperate. I am puzzled that this woman has made it this far on the bench. She makes no rulings, rewords questions, allows the defense rebuttal for the prosecution witnesses. It is frustrating to watch.
This is about the judge. Sean, you watched the first one. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the judge?
I think the evidence rulings are probably not the strongest. I don't feel like she's also very good at controlling her courtroom. But I question a lot of the evidence rulings that she's made. But this idea, though, they're allowed to rebuttal. It's like, yes, you are allowed to do recross sometimes if there is something to get out of that witness. So, like, how dare they? It's like the Michelle Trakunis trial, the judge let them do direct cross, redirect, recross, and then let them go a whole nother round of like redirect and then recross. Like there are times where you're going to there are issues that have to get, sussed out. And remember, people keep saying this, like, well, how could she do this? It's remember, only one side's entitled to a fair trial, and it's not the state. So, yes, if the field gets tilted in the favor of the defendant, like, that's how it's supposed to be. So,
the other thing is oftentimes, at least in Michigan, when like the defense could call that witness again and handle them sort of on direct. So the courts will generally give a little leeway so that we don't have to waste time and call the witness again.
Yeah, I don't understand this person's gripe. It makes, like, I understand the thing about the, like, making no rulings, rewording questions. Okay, I can kind of get that.
They're inherently
but allowing defense rebuttal? So what?
Pro-state. That's the problem.
Yeah, okay.
It's because he's the bad man, and the bad man needs to go to prison. Why are we even having a trial for this bad man? They should just put him in prison right now. That's what people think.
It's just like just throw him in jail.
I was going to say that's why I always caution people, especially gun people, who think they're somehow universally be recognized as righteous. These lunatics you see in Reddit and in the comments and social media, these are your jury. These are the people that are going to decide your fate.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're having a little bit of an anniversary. It's a year. Well, last week because I didn't do this last week. It was a year since people voted, 12 people apparently voted guilty for Alec Murdoch. And Mr. Crime and Cask, I don't know if he's in chat right now, he did actually a poll because he's got about 40,000 or so followers. He did a poll and his poll came out 50-50, guilty, not guilty by reasonable doubt, flat out right down the middle. So interestingly, there we go. He wrote this thing, and hi Crime and Cast, good to see you, and I hope you're feeling better soon. You'll come on for an interview really shortly. Let's read what he said on this anniversary. Dolly.
A year ago today, 12 people decided that Alex Murdaugh was guilty. Some may even say it was 13 people who really decided. Oh dear. But 12 months later in my poll, Miss Becky Hill, America is clearly not as convinced. My book, Defending Alex Murdaugh, has been out since October 2023, and not one person has disputed any experiment I've performed countless times. Americans want more Murdaugh, and this poll clearly shows a snapshot that half of America believes Murdaugh is not guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Defending Alex Murdaugh, not guilty by reasonable doubt, is available on Amazon.
1,200 participated in this poll. I'm sure his whole of his 40,000 follower base did not participate in the poll. That's a pretty, 1,200 is not a bad amount of people to get involved in a poll. But anyway, yes, so little Griff there for his book, but totally, it's interesting, isn't it, that it's not just us, guys. What people try to make out like there's just a tiny little fraction of people who felt like there was reasonable doubt, but I feel like there's more people out there who were undecided. Okay, and those last two comments there, please.
It's me, late bloomer. I think he is not guilty of murder. The rest of it, yes. Followed the trial. He's totally guilty. There is no other plausible evidence, and he lied about the most salient facts.
He lied about some things, yes. Yes, that's absolutely true. Okay, so moving on. Now, there can't be anything said about the Murdochs without there being some controversy. So this week, this happened. FitsNews reported on it, and you know FitsNews aren't the most popular amongst the anti-Murdoch circles. So FitsNews said, this, go, Dolly.
Maggie Murdaugh and Paul Murdaugh, who were laid to rest on June 11th, 2021 in Hampton Cemetery, finally have headstones at their grave sites. The mother and son were murdered June 7th, 2021. Alex Murdaugh was convicted of both killings on March 2nd, 2023.
Yeah. Okay, so they've got their headstones up, right? They've got their headstones up. And there's Rosie. Hey, Rosie, if you're in chat. And enough of that. I think I saw you earlier in chat. They've both gone, rest in peace, Paul and Maggie, rest in peace. And so did a bunch of other people. There's their headstones. Notice the other headstones in the background and the flowers. Now, FitsNews can't even put up a photo of some headstones without there being some sort of argument about it on X. This is so silly, right? So watch this. Read that one, please, Dolly.
Is this the Hampton Cemetery? Here is a photo of Randolph's headstone. On the right is Maggie and Paul's funeral markers with flowers. The background is in the FitsNews photo, looks like a different cemetery.
Oh, okay. Shock. Oh my God, shock. Really? Okay. What? It's in a different cemetery? Are they the real headstones? Oh no.
Where's the chicken buried?
Oh, Lottie. Yeah. Where's the chicken and the guinea? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, mystery solved. This is Maggie and Paul's newly erected headstones. However, the person who sent the original photo to FitsNews appears to have possibly done some photoshopping editing. The numerous headstones in the background are not there. God. Okay. So, what they're saying is that these two, which are brand new, next to Randy, is it Randy or Rudolph? Randolph, sorry. If we go back to, okay, see that? So you can actually see it. It's been cut. These have been cut out, and more have been put in the background, right? And whoever's posted this here has kind of been a bit nice and said, whoever sent the original photo to FitsNews appears to have possibly done some photoshopping. So they haven't accused FitsNews of doing it, but I mean, I suppose that's the inference. Right. So, want to read those?
Any updates on where Dick and Jim are in their investigation into who really did it? I heard they hired the same detectives OJ did.
This is all in the same thread, right? So this is all in response to the headstones.
The ignorance continues. Not everyone wants/gets headstones. Have you considered a head transplant to correct the deformities and contents? Ugh.
And then you've seen this meme before. This person follows FitsNews around and just posts this meme, right? So biased, rednecked, opinionated, lazy. That's Willie from FitsNews. Yeah. Okay. So unFitsNews. And that's all in response to FitsNews just posting about the headstones. Can we not just give respect to Paul and Maggie having their headstones? Come on. Okay, we're going to end this stream with a little bit of fun because we like to make fun of Mr. EB. It's EB time. He's the super lawyer.
Another super lawyer. Jason Bowles was also a super lawyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and guys, I mentioned this on my I put this on my locals because I gotten the Lawyers of Distinction offer, and it was like,
oh, really?
Well, that's a separate thing. But when you see these attorneys with a lot of that stuff in the background of their window in their office, even YouTube lawyers who do that, those are all the ones you pay for. Now there might be some awards they've won, but the Lawyers of Distinction, it's like the $200 one. You can get the $400 one. If you pay like $700, they give you the little glass thing. Then they give you that fake wood thing with the magazine printout glass
super duper
glued
lawyer.
onto it. Yeah, it's all
I have to confess, I've never been a super lawyer.
I knew it.
Oh, look, you know what?
But I have my own bobblehead.
I know you have your own bobblehead. I know you do. In fact, I need that one so I can style a graphical one. Yeah.
It's like being in the Supreme Court bar. You just pay some money.
No one outdoes Eric Bland when it comes to being a show pony. So EB Grammar Police, who I love EB Grammar Police, she is just the best because she picks up all of EB's grammar.
Worse than Dave's voice to text.
Yeah. Okay. So EB Grammar Police has come along and gone, when you're an attorney and this is your electronic signature, no one will take you seriously. All right. So Eric S. Bland Richter LLP. And then look, as seen on NBC, ABC, Fox, Dateline, Today, CNN, People, Court TV, lifetime member, multi-million-dollar advocates forum, the top trial lawyers in America, super lawyers, Eric S. Bland, selected in 2023.
Seen on Dateline.
All bought and paid for, people. All bought and paid for. But the average client doesn't know, and they think,
it looks impressive.
Great attorney.
You think? Impressive. You think that looks impressive?
And that's kind of a weird to a layperson. Yeah,
I mean, to a layperson.
He's fancy. He's a super lawyer. Hoo-wee.
I got a lawyer friend of mine who deals with a lot of elderly people. And so he puts all of his degrees on the wall and all of his, he's licensed and he puts it all on the wall because when they come in, they like to see that and it makes them feel better. And none of it means anything, but, optics.
That seems like a weird mailing address for a lawyer who's got an active practice, actually sees clients. It looks like my mailing address. I mean, I've just got a P.O. box basically, but I don't see clients. I mean, I'm in my office right now, but I don't see clients in person. All my work is done virtually.
Well, and hella, in reality, I'll admit though, I've done that where like these books behind me right here, these books.
Yeah.
Like I've gone to like my local law library, like they've thrown out a bunch of books before.
You can
Like,
buy
they're
them by the
taking up
foot.
space. Well, I didn't buy them; they gave them to me, and I loaded up on the car and I drove across, a block over to my office and put them on the wall. And it's like, oh, he's got books on the wall. It's like a very, very astute lawyer, and it's like those will never get open ever.
Well, they see it in TV. It always cracks me up, right? In the background, in like a prosecutor's office, you'll see like 6 volumes of 1,000 volume court reporter set. I hope the cases you need are in those 6 books.
I was watching Suits. Like I did a review years ago of the TV show Suits, and the first episode they like went to a law library and started looking through the books, and I was like, that would be malpractice if they did that real life. Looking through those books, you go online and you do it.
Right.
All right. So EB Grove Police has also come along and gone. Look. So Eric Bland says my new. Oh, you need to say what Eric Bland says. Yep.
My new website is officially live. You can find all info regarding my appearances, how to work with me, my merch for a mission, my upcoming book, and my wife's boyfriend, and more on the site. Check it out. theericbland.com.
theericbland.com. And she's gone, I'm done.
What's his merch? Does he sell like underwear? What's he
wait till you see. Wait till you see.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna see. And then someone's gone, maybe when he gets a proofreader for his book, they can help with his social media posts too. All right. And then enough of that, if you're around. What's the name of the book? Ebocracy? And that's my favorite hashtag for EB, and that came from Nosy Rosie, who's one of our members. Will there be a chapter on bobbleheads? I hope you put a paragraph on Judge Toll and the seat change. How many references to women and animals? I have so many questions. Remember the seat change? Dear. Okay, now this is my favorite thing that's happened since he put his website out there. He has a book, guys.
Is he writing the book with Becky Hill?
Anything but bland.
Law, Legacy, and Life during Murdaugh. Eric E.B. Bland.
I'm going to read the title. I can't believe that's the title of his book.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. Don't put a. It's like saying anything but cringe. It's like no, that you don't have the word cringe or bland or.
Behind the Walls of Justice as a title is available now.
I can't even get. Can you want to read that?
Anything but bland by Eric Bland. Ugh.
Yeah,
Follow the remarkable. I was getting to it. Follow the remarkable journey of attorney Eric E.B. Bland, a man who turned childhood adversity into triumph.
I'm sure it was so hard as a child.
Yeah. The attorney recalls his childhood marked by bullying. He wasn't bullied enough. His father's job loss and the indomitable spirit that propelled him into law and ultimately international recognition during the Alex Murdaugh trial.
Wow. International recognition? International recognition. Okay, well, I'm recognizing him internationally as an idiot.
Poor black child in Mississippi.
I ain't always tired. I got hot sauce in my purse.
I don't usually quote myself, but I was just like, the title, what? It should be anything but bland. Anybody but bland.
I'll say it again. The total lack of self-awareness is epic.
Yeah.
Anything but bland is a good title, but not in the way he means.
Yeah.
He's trying so hard to make a brand out of himself, but the outcome is as cheap as the fake bricks on his kitchen wall. I am starting to feel sorry for him. He has neither taste nor self-respect. He is something all about EB, the EB show all the time.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Now I had to get this quote out from Not Becky Hill, and that's actually from back in January. I'm sorry, but it was too relevant to this. Bland is how his wife describes the sex.
How his wife describes their sex.
That's
Sweet
good.
summer child. Would you like some sugar tea?
I love this account so much. All right, so that's that. Yeah, basically. Oops, hang on.
Wrong direction.
I can just show you this really quickly. Show this tab instead. That's his website.
Ugh.
There is his merch is
Shop EB merch. Oh my god.
Shop EB merch. There's his merch. There's this one here. The world has too many dicks. Need more EBs.
Oh, there's one more with him in the world.
Yeah. The other one I really don't understand. Oh, got EB. Yeah. Okay. The other one I really just don't understand is this one. Good luck, and then cross that out, and then there's skill.
Oh, he's saying he doesn't need luck.
Yeah, saying all skill, no luck.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense though. Like good skill, good skill to you, friend.
You should cross out the whole word. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Both words.
Yeah. Anyway, that's that. So that's it today. Thank you guys. I really enjoyed doing all that with you and having all of you back for more this Tuesday. We're doing the Nick Godejohn story Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. That's 9:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Actually, it won't be. It'll be 8:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. I have to change that. And you know what? New time next week. Because I ain't getting up at 4:30 a.m. when it gets into winter. So I'm going to be, this is the big announcement. I'm glad so many people are here to hear about it. Thank you for dual streaming today, Law of Self-Defense, because I now have 700 and something people hearing this. Pardon?
Great. Happy to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, I get to announce that every Sunday afternoon, this will now be 4 p.m. Eastern, which is 7 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Because it's not only really hard for me to get up this early, it also means that the Australians get to actually see it at a time when they might be awake. So we do this every week. And also, you have to work. Cool. And join us on Twitter in the Hella Hearsay for Days, Hella Hearsay X community. There will be a link up for that. Now, something else we have to announce is that Treehouse Murder Trial interview. Franklin Ty Tucker is coming back. So he has a hearing on Monday, and it will be, the interview will be on Mr. Salvador Dali's channel.
Yes.
So that's 6 p.m. Eastern, Monday. Everyone go and get the notifications going for that one. Right? Really important. His hearing is on. It's a dismissal hearing, isn't it? He's putting forth.
He might be, yeah.
I think he's putting forth a motion to dismiss. So good luck to him. Good luck to Franklin Ty Tucker.
And I'm hoping to get the hearing as well. I don't think it's going to be public.
Hoping to get the hearing. If the hearing's in the morning, I'll probably stream that on my channel, but just look out for notifications on that.
Yeah.
But he's coming on Dali's channel. I'll be there too, and also his wife Lauren Janai.
Yes.
So that is happening. That's big news. And next is become a member and join our salacious, outrageous Discord community. Excited Utterance or Salvador Dali Talk channel members get the entry perk. So please join our community and you can become a part of that. Now, Yes, David, it's cool. Now, David, everyone needs to become a member of David's channel. You need to become a member or subscribe to all of these lovely people's channels if you're not already. Mods, please chuck the links to all of their channels into chat. It's time for David to say what he's doing.
I am. Oh, hey.
Hey.
I got full screen. I'm covering the James Crumbley trial. I'm actually streaming it live without commentary, and then at 6 p.m. Eastern every day, doing sort of a recap of the day's trial. So keep an eye out for that. I also have Lego streams, where we interview various YouTubers. That's almost every Saturday going forward for the next month.
Wow, really?
Yeah, well, we're trying to get one scheduled for this coming Saturday. Then we have Megan Fox coming on the following Saturday, and we're looking at one for the Saturday after that as well. So, awesome. Keep an eye out for that. And then we have Jodi Arias. Nick and I have been doing Jodi Arias for the last 8, 9, 10 months. I don't know. But we've been reading her manifesto for the last couple of streams, and that's kind of fun and entertaining. How she sees herself, really. It's more of a OJ, I didn't do it, but if I did it, this is how I would have done it kind of thing. So check that out.
Awesome. Everyone go subscribe to David. He is an incredible streamer and honestly one of my best mates. I just love you, David. And I've missed you this last couple of weeks when you've been on Springer.
Yes. Yeah, I still technically am.
You still technically am. And Mr. Sean, potentially criminal, what do you got going on?
Right now, we're kind of working our way through the Daniel Howard case up in Idaho. We've been watching that. He's accused of murdering his wife and staging it look like a suicide. And we just saw the body cam video of when he called the police and they showed up, and he's sitting there like, "Oh my God, this is so bad!" And then he's like, "Do you guys want coffee?" And it's not looking very convincing right this second. So. But there's some issues. There's some issues with it. Like the coroner was about to retire, so he kind of phoned in doing his autopsy. So the state has to explain why that was all different from what happened the first time when they redid it. So there's a lot. I think there's still a lot to come out that is going to be helpful to him. But it'll be interesting.
Love Sean, potentially criminal, and love Sean's chat. Hang out there all the time when I'm not streaming. And also your Thursday night crime streams are so much fun
every 9:30
as well. Yep. And also
every Thursday at 9:30.
Every Thursday 9:30. Mr. Bronco, what you got going on?
I've actually got some travel coming up, so I don't have a lot of live streams happening the next couple of weeks, but I have a lot of pre-recorded content. A lot of it is like reading court decisions, famous Supreme Court decisions, doing some analysis in those. I'll cover U.S. v. Miller. I'll cover Miranda v. Arizona. Nice. That takes 4 shows actually, because that's a long opinion. Yeah, most people don't know Miranda or Miranda rights, of course. Yeah. It was a 5-4 decision. There's 3 dissents on that decision. Yeah, so it's interesting to read the opposing arguments. I always like when there's dissents.
When will that be?
The Miranda will be next week. So 4 days next week. It'll be pre-recorded shows, about an hour long each.
Cool. Thank you so much for being here, Andrew, and thank you for just streaming. I really appreciate that.
Sure, it worked. It was really cool.
Yeah. It was really cool. Yeah. And I've really appreciated you being here this week and last week. And Sean too. You've been here 2 weeks now. This is my biggest show of the week. It takes me a lot of effort to put this one together. And having support from different people around the place, especially attorneys, is just it helps an awful lot. So I really appreciate all of your company, and you're all my friends. So thank you so much. And David, it's been hard for you to be here today, I know. So thank you so much, and I've missed you, man.
No problem. Anytime I can, I would be happy to jump on.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So thank you for watching. That was Hearsay for Days. Everybody, press the like button and the subscribe button on your way out. And I will be saying goodbye. Where's my little thing to say goodbye? Oh, there it is there. See you guys. Press the end stream.